Hello, and welcome to Agentic AI in DevOps with Andrey, Fernando, and you would think Vladimir, but not. He's out, and instead of him, Viktor Vedmich is joining us today. And this is going to be an interview episode where we're going to learn what tools Viktor is using in his daily life and his read of the industry. For those of you who never met Viktor in real life, he currently works as a solution architect. Are you senior solution architect? Do you have, Viktor?
Correct. Senior solution architect.
Not just, but a senior solution architect in AWS.
Amazon Web Services, if you don't know what is AWS.
I think people are well aware of that company.
I hope so.
He used to be a developer advocate in the same company.
Senior developer
advocate. Yeah. Focused on containers, if I'm not mistaken.
Now, I covered a region, people who live starting from Mongolia and finishing somewhere in Germany. I would make a joke I was responsible for Chinggis Khan region, so I was Chinggis Khan DA. In every joke you have part of the joke. So so here's it's my joke that I was Chinggis Khan DA region. So for sure I was focused mostly on the containers. I continue to introduce myself if you do not mind.
Yes, please.
Because I have my own book written about Kubernetes. I pass all certificates what exist about Kubernetes. I work with Kubernetes for a long time, and I believe I know a little bit of Kubernetes, but it's not on the expert level for sure. Now I am senior solution architect working in gaming, betting industry, in streaming. With this focus, this is part of my responsibility, and do a lot of different stuff with my customers, and not only with the customers. Also, Andrey didn't mention, but I have, just in case if you speak in Russian, I have my own 2 podcasts. One of them it's official AWS podcast in Russian. So if you understand Russian language, welcome to join. And the second one, it's my own private, starting already 6 years ago. DevOps Kitchen Talks, where we just turn the kitchen, speaking about DevOps. For that reason, I believe Andrey invited me to this podcast to talk about AI and DevOps. For that reason, as you can see, it's my fancy background. It's real, just in case if someone thinks it's not real, it's real. So that's me.
We actually spent 2 hours last week recording the DevOps Kitchen Talks last Friday.
Yeah.
And I said Viktor, why not you come now and join our podcast? So it's really nice to have those crossovers. So let's get going with an interview. We're going to ask you some questions. So starting from the terminal. For some reason, people are obsessed about terminals.
Mm-hmm.
And for those people who are obsessed by terminals, what kind of terminal Viktor is using?
If you don't mind, I would be very, add more history to answer to this question.
Please.
Because I think it's also, nowadays especially, it's very interesting. And I absolutely agree with you. Currently, people a lot of time ask me, what is my terminal? What is a favorite? So I started many years ago with iTerm, but from my point of view, iTerm currently it's not the best terminal. They had a lot of security issues, and especially from the performance perspective, it's not so cool. Especially as I don't know what about you folks, but I spend it in my terminal half of the day, honestly. Just for me, it's interface to almost to any stuff, even reading emails or answering on emails or preparing reports, whatever, doing almost everything through the terminal. For that reason, terminals should be very performance well. Then I decided to make a research what would be the best options. I switched to this term. It was very cool and nice, fancy. It's might have much better performance, especially if we compare with the iTerm. Then I heard from Andrey knows this podcast, Radio T. Again, it's also in Russian. I still believe that Fox is doing an amazing job and continuously already have 1,000 episodes. Amazing. So
yes.
One of the hosts of the podcast mentioned about the Kitty. I switched to the Kitty. Kitty also looks cool and nice, but for some reason Kitty didn't work well, especially if you have multi-language on your keyboard. I mean, like when you're switching from, like, for example, from Cyrillic to English to German and all of the stuff. And I like just stuck with some key shortcuts, and it didn't work well, especially in Cyrillic, my keyboard combination. And at some point I decided, okay, I need to search something else. For sure, I tried Ghosty. Who didn't know Ghosty? I believe everyone knows about the Ghosty. Written on Zik, created by, oh my God.
Mikhail Hashimoto.
Yeah, Mr. Hashimoto.
He knows his stuff. That's what I'm using today. I'm not a big terminal fan. I generally don't care, but that seems to be working fine. And I'm like, okay, I'm just using that one.
I tried Ghosty, but I did not like it did not provide so much flexibility as, for example, Kitty and Visterm. Because like what's for me, it's very important nowadays. And like what's we come into my current for today, I don't know, like 26th of June in 2026. Now for today, I use cmux. I know. Do you know this terminal or not? It's like pretty fresh. Let me just share the link.
I think I've seen it. Is it like the one with a browser built in?
We cannot say it's with a browser. Yeah, it could be like open the browser exactly inside in the terminal. I shared with you, Andrey, the link to the cmux GitHub. It's more popular more and more. For what reason? Just like let me explain why I decided also to switch to this terminal. So I know that you will ask me these questions, but it will be like a spoiler. I use Claude Code a lot, heavily Claude Code.
Yeah, the hardness is the next question.
Yeah, but like we will think about the terminal that I use Claude Code. Just as a spoiler, I understand, then I will explain why Claude Code. So in a Claude Code, sometimes you need like make like a lot of different agents, and especially when they release like a Teams, when it like can split your terminal and sub agents, and you see what's going on in everyone of all of them. And cmux provides this functionality. Because in the Kitty and in Visterm, it didn't work well because it's absolutely different terminal. And in general, this Teams approach in Claude Code, it worked well only in iTerm. But I didn't want to spec to iTerm because performance didn't use GPU at all. And even like when I opened iTerm, it took, 10 seconds just to open the terminal and nothing else. So with the cmux, what you have, you can split on different like areas. You have your own workspaces. It's also amazing. Like you have like from the left side is a bar where you can create a different like your name workspaces. Even of that, you have your workspace and you can split like horizontally, vertically. Even of that, you can have multiple tabs additionally. For example, you're working on this something, whatever, like for example, active project, from the left side and splitting on the half of the screen, you can run, for example, your test or whatever. And from the bottom line, and again, like splitting on the half of the like quarter of the screen, it could be your something else, I don't know, like running your server or whatever. Yeah. Also, super cool stuff that cmux has separate skills and API of the terminal, and you can configure your Claude Code, whatever, to say, hey, when you're going to test something, please open real terminal. And it means that it will really open the new window of terminal and have this protocol of communications from your, for example, left side and right side and sends the command.
This is deep.
This is cool, man. I have been doing a lot of Claude Code with the iTerm, and I'm like, oh man, this shit is so slow. Like, my God. So you're giving me now, I was like, oh crap. Okay, I'm switching after the recording.
But I think the cmux thing is written on Electron. So it's basically Electron based.
Under the hood is Ghosty. Under the hood is Ghosty.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah,
under the hood is Ghosty.
Right.
But on the top of that, they created a lot of different like stuff. I heard like a new terminal, herder, sometimes like that. I'm not sure like I pronounce this correctly, but no, still I'm with the cmux. I really love this functionality when it can open separate terminal window and doing something, especially like I as a solution architect, what I do a lot of presentations. I need to do a lot of presentations. And for sure, who nowadays doing PowerPoint presentations? Nobody. I do all of my presentations through the SleDev. I know, do you familiar with that? I know, yes. Like it's also like super cool stuff. Previously, yeah, I know some people was like, I would say like very hard-coded people did through the SleDev presentations. But now when everything is like Markdown, SleDev, it's amazing. And you need to run your, for example, SleDev server separately, not in the background as a process. It would be better to have open a separate like terminal window, running SleDev, and then you can review your presentations. I don't know, switch into the presentations mode, whatever. Yeah, also in cmux, it also could be possible to open in a separate, you're still in the same window, in the same workspace, but you can open like browser and do like playwright stuff, but not through the playwright. It's natively through the cmux. Honestly, I did not use heavily. I prefer to use a playwright because with a playwright, what I did, I configured my Chrome with my own notification, especially in AWS. It's very difficult to do it. What I mean, like not difficult to do it. I mean, you have to pass all of our security, midway notifications, and so on. And when you work with a playwright, it's open like fresh Chrome without any installed plugins, all of this stuff. And for me, that didn't work at all. Like this config doesn't work because sometimes I would love to open with AWS Amazon notification mechanism, which is midway notification mechanism with our own SSO, blah, blah, blah. So long story short, like I install extensions as MCP connected to my Claude Code, whatever, and open a separate Chrome with all of this notification. So sorry for long answer. My favorite today is cmux. Super cool that it also can save your workspace configuration. So it means like when you also quit from the terminal, you can open it from the scratch and it will open exactly where you left. What I mean here also is means if I am in Claude Code, for example, doing something very heavily, and then like quit, for example, the terminal, and I open it from this like new window, it will spin up the same workspace. Even it remembers the ID of the session and resumes the session. It's just like sent to the terminal that I need to run Claude Code, blah, 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 resume. Where I was located, I mean like my current folder, CWD, and then what's the session's ID, and exactly where I've just like stopped.
Now I have to ask. I think that terminal was around like for 2 or 3 months. Like I think like 2 or 3 months.
And it's legacy. It sounds like a legacy. Yeah?
Legacy. Yeah, that is years.
And somehow you had all that time to go in and configure it. I mean, like to go so deep.
Wow, man.
We will not ask if you have life beyond terminal.
No, but this master class was great. Yeah.
You sold it really well. I actually like, okay, I like when I looked at it, I opened the browser in it. Okay, I can open the browser and I have workspaces. I don't feel that there was like a missing piece in my life. So I just closed it and went back to the Ghosty. But now after such extensive explanation, there is probably more to explore and give it a second try.
Give a second try. Honestly, like from my personal opinion, it's one of the best what's currently exist on the. I know maybe other options exist, but when I saw, like for me, like super critical workspaces, because I work sometimes on many different stuff, and sometimes I need to switch like context as a solution architect. I work with different customers, and I don't want to have like in one workspace everything for different customers. I need to switch the context. And for that reason, I just like split it on like workspaces. Here I work on this customer, for example, activity. Another one's like my project. Another one, something else, whatever. It's one stuff, saving the workspace, quitting and back in and opening everything where I left. another one, and with sledev and opening separate like window and making this command. Even though that like I sometimes run through this functionality, I do like the development. Yeah, I know it's nowadays it's not the approach, but before Codex release skill for Claude Code, what I did, I opened separate like a tab and asked like send to the Codex in a separate tab to make a review of my code and changes, so on. Like multi agent harness communications.
Yeah, I'm still just doing shell out. Basically, I have like a shell script that it runs when I need to run Codex from Claude Code, or vice versa. I just have a shell script that it just takes, sends a prompt, monitors.
I agree. But if you need to like review what exactly happening, if you don't care and you need to like get a result, that's fine. Absolutely agree. But sometimes if it would be like interaction session, just asking something to you, whatever, it's better, to have like a separate. But long story short, cmux my favorite for today.
Yeah. So the next question was the harness. That one you answered. So we're gonna answer a different question. So the harness is something that you use to steer the model, right? So something that connects to your computer and to your tools. But then the question is, where is the model coming from? Do you have a cloud subscription, or is it coming from Bedrock?
For work, from Bedrock.
Right.
On personal laptop, subscription.
Right. All right.
I think it's not like super secret. Yeah, we have inside an AWS for sure. Like just in case if you don't know, we have our own separate. Also, I'm not 100% agree with your definitions was as harness.
Okay.
Because you said like your harness is Claude Code. My understanding, maybe I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure. My understanding, the harness, it's how you configured your agent. My agent, it's Claude Code. And harness, it's how I configure it around my agent. Like what's my skills, MCP, tools, even my terminal, and so on. And this is create my own harness. And who run it? It's currently Claude Code. I also have like in my to-do list try to buy, but I think it will be like a next step. But long story short, I didn't mention in AWS we have our own agent. It's Kiro. Kiro could be in CLI mode. Kiro
I was
IDE.
about to ask.
Yeah. And also like different models under the hood. But what I love in Claude Code, it's community. Amount of extensions, plugins, skills, MCP, tools, community making a lot of stuff. Kiro does not have so many, let's say like followers, fans, not so huge community for today, but the model is like the same. So,
like the Kiro is done differently. Like if you run Kiro and Claude Code, there is a difference how the model's prompted under the hood and how it works. And there is a very tight community of AWS community builders who likes Kiro, and there is like quite a bit of going on there, but it is not as wide as adoption is not as wide. So it's more like niche, I would say. But there is life in there. And one shout out to the Kiro team is I actually been using Kiro as ADE came out like a year ago. I think it was like around May it came out.
Yeah.
So, and it had Sonnet 4.5 for free if there is not so much demand, so it will fall over all the time. But like if you run it during the night, there was like not as much demand, and you could get a lot of Sonnet use out of it. But they were like first, I believe, with a spec design. But what was missing in Kiro, clicking run my next spec was like super duper boring. You just sit and feel that you're babysitting the harness or like the IDE or whatever. But now they have a run all the tasks button. And then Kiro would basically spin a sub-agent for every task, preserving the context window of the main agent, and it can run like through the 27 or 30 tasks. Like that was my experience. It was actually running for 36 hours, almost nonstop. Well, stopping to ask me like if I want to allow that on this, like I had, I really want them to go away from that low list because they need something like auto mode with a classifier in Claude Code. Anyhow, that's really good stuff. And also, I mean, like the Kiro, if you build in Cursor is like very optimized for the speed. Like that's my read of it. Kiro is optimized for enterprise and like internal AWS use because it's very heavy leaning on tests. You don't see Cursor writing as many tests. And also Kiro would actually stick with the steering. So Kiro is like really good at following the steering instruction through the internal prompting. And I think like there is like probably hooks preventing it from going astray too much. So like I like Kiro, but it's like slow. It is slow, but it's nice but slow.
Agree. No, like I cannot say like nothing. Like in some cases Kiro works pretty well. I also like had a plan just to extend a little bit of my configurations. Like, I also have not like heavily, but every day I use also the Kiro because it's our own product. And for us, for sure, it's like free. So it's like internal use. We have like the same limits, like written as a limit, but in reality, so like almost you can use it as much as you need it. I know some people just like burn all of this like credits during a couple of the days because it spin ups many different. What I love in the Kiro, I hope they will extend. That's and what could be a good like point of selling, especially in competitions, it's amount of the models. I absolutely agree that I would say potentially 99% people use Claude models, some of them like Sonnet, Opus, whatever. But who knows, as we currently have OpenAI agreement, I don't know, maybe, who knows, maybe we will have in Kiro also OpenAI models. I know, it's just like, I don't know, it's my like, I don't have any insights, not at all. It's just like my thinking.
Yeah, it is the OpenAI models available in Bedrock. You would expect them to land in Kiro eventually.
But let's see. I don't know, but let's see.
Sounds like OpenAI has its own API format, so it's probably some work required. So like it's probably going to Bedrock. Anyhow,
not
doesn't matter.
Plug and play, right?
We figured out the harness. On top of the whatever your definition of harness is, or like the agent, I think it's just a line and metaphysics, like where you draw the line. But let's talk about all the stuff that of that thing that drives the model. What do you put on top of that? Are there like the skills that you would recommend people to use, or MCP servers? I'm afraid to ask after your explanation of the terminal, but go ahead.
I will be very short because I see our timer on the top. First of all, I would say my setup, it's a little bit complicated, I think so, and maybe over-engineered, and maybe not, I would say, best configured, because everything what I do inside in my Obsidian vault, mostly. Obsidian for me, it's a way how I also interact with my harness. For what reason? Because I started my second brain or like nodes application in Obsidian. And currently, as we're doing everything in the MD files, it's like amazing fit. So I open my, like, if it's not related to development something. I mean, if I do development, like for example, I'm preparing some new project what I'm currently working on, like how I call it, like Coop cost ops. It's helped me to review how many pods running, how many nodes, how much it costs, and so on. For sure, I'm doing like in a separate folder. But for regular tasks, like for example, preparing some meetings, doing some short demo, whatever, I do everything in my Obsidian. But with very strict Claude MD written. So In Obsidian, I have the approach of Johnny Decimal approach. It's like methodology. Let me very quickly to explain. Every folder have a number on the start, like 10, it's AWS. 20, my calendar. 30, it's my like project. 40, something else. 60, I know my knowledge. 70, it's related to my research, whatever. And like this is a number. And in every folder have my sub Claude MD file, which is guide like what exactly I'm doing if I'm related to this project. So the skills I cannot recommend to you. So for what reason? Because I believe that you and me will be absolutely different, like as a person, and we have to install it and configure it like together. What I can recommend, and which works very well in my case, is 2 MCP servers. It's Gina, because in AWS I use Bedrock, and when I use Claude Code on Bedrock, it doesn't provide for you the whole functionality what you use when you have subscriptions. In subscriptions, you have deep research, good web research, and so on. This functionality is limited for me. What I did, I found one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best web search tools. It's Gina and Tavily. I hope I pronounced correctly. And these 2 MCP servers, so first of all, in Tavily, they provided 1,000 like credits every month for free, which is, for me, it like enough because I did not do like, so heavily usage. So like 1,000 credits, like searches, whatever, how they count it, like deep searches, it's consume more credits, simple search less. So long story short, Gina and Tavily is my configuration. Everything else, I figure out, for example, I see a very cool skill. For example, doing like SlickDev presentations. I do not take assist. Every skill, every MCP, I adjust it to my configuration. For that reason, I would say like I cannot say like, hey, you have to use these skills or whatever.
Well, it's like more inspiration for people in areas to look, because there is so much stuff. Everyone now is a builder. Everyone is building stuff. So I think we are back to the initial internet days where we didn't have a search engine. So discovery is a problem. You basically just have to go and talk to people, see what they use, see what's working, what's not. Like I could say that there is like, a bunch of skills where you do like grill me with docs. Like those are quite popular. So I'm not using the skills from the person, but I'm using the same approach in my work, for instance.
If you ask me, like, okay, like list of the skills, also what I can recommend and what I heavily use is like, as I said, like Claude Code have a lot of plugins and skills and so on. Superpowers and GSD. Getting shit done. Nowadays, let's say rename it getting stuff done, whatever. This is two plugins help me with development. Super like structured me with follow like spec-driven, ask questions and doing like researches and so on. If you ask me to skills, what I use heavily my own deep research, which is like written, my own prompt optimizer, which I also inspired by something from the internet. So what exactly it means? Sometimes I'm just like, I believe most of you also, I forgot to mention that I interact with my harness or whatever through the voice. I mean, I have some like whisper. I just like pushing the button, it listen me and transcribe, and then doing everything else. What I have like prompt optimizer, and sometimes my thoughts not very structured. It's just like, like I just thinking out loud. I said like, okay, I'm thinking out loud. This is my point of view, what we should do, how it should be configured, whatever, built on the technologies. Let's make a good prompt from that, send it through the prompt optimizer and make it good prompt for the next phase. And skill like start it, get it everything what I told during like 1.5 minutes, for example, proceed, make it like a little bit more structured and send it, for example, for deep research, what I need to find based on this, like as an input. Then I have like internals, our MCP tools, which is needed just like to connect to Outlook, to our CRM system. It's like internal stuff. I have even like I have like my own site, whatever. I have skills to write articles with adjusted with my voice because I don't want to be sounds like AI slop, whatever.
I know. We have the same.
Yeah.
But let's turn it this way. So, for instance, you need to prepare a demo for the kube cost optimization, whatever the project was. So how you would go about that? So you need to have some Kubernetes, like with your tooling, just like if you can you walk us through the process, how you would do that?
So in this case, I would open, depends, like if it's a demo for like with existing project, or I'm just like working like with unique demo for some specific. So if we're talking like kube cost view, like what I'm currently working, it's like it's a development. Like let's say like it's a development of this stuff. It's not as a demo for my customer. It's like two separate.
Let's imagine like you're gonna do a presentation with that. Or
okay,
like...
with presentation. So just like I open my Obsidian Vault and say like I'm working with my customer X, for example. And for Claude, it means like I have to make CD, change directory to this folder. And every customer I have like descriptions also in MD. I also forget super important. QMD. I don't know, do you know this tool or not? It's combine classical search, PM25, and RAG system with re-ranking of your knowledge. So super amazing tool, especially if you have a lot of documentations, interactions with different customers, and so on. In most cases, like I said, like I need to do something with a customer Y. Can you please search everything what we have with this activity or with this customer and through the QMD? It's fine, like very fast. So long story short, I open the folder, say like, we need to create a presentations, activate AWS lead dev, for example, skills. The source of the presentations would be my project, for example, W, whatever, or kube ops view, whatever, kube cost view. And we need to spin up Kubernetes. Kubernetes in our AWS account. I have a separate folder in GitHub and said, you need to connect to this folder, make it review what's currently have, spin up a couple of Kubernetes clusters, because I need at least 2 for this demo, and run the procedure. If it's regular demo or regular repeated stuff, I created from that skills. Skills help me to just like reproduce the same as I did, like for example, for one customer. If it's like repeated stuff, I try and also create the skills which may help me to do not waste a time again, just to explain the model or like a harness, what I need to do, blah, blah, blah. So this is how I work. So like open Obsidian folder, stars, and hey, we work and like describe limited like what the scope currently of this task will be, make for the model understand where we should be in the Obsidian my vault, because it's a huge, currently like 10,000 files already. I understand like sometimes maybe it's too much, but what I said, like I think it's not ideal. It will not work for everyone, but for me, it's like with multi-customers engagement, currently it works, still works. I know what will be in 1 year, but currently it works. And like doing this stuff. And with Claude Code, you can say like, I have GitHub repository in another folder, like in another space, like it can connect it, switch the folder, for example, in case it's needed, and so on. Yeah.
Interesting. So you're basically using the folder structure to limit the context that the model needs to collect. So instead of feeding the context manually, you kind of already have it prepared, and then you're using the skills to tell what needs to be done. So basically using the skills as a bash scripts in human
like that.
English.
Yeah, like that. Also, just like what I did is like a little bit follow the Andrey Karpata approach. It's every my sessions finishing with session summarization. And at any time I can make like how it's called, like recall what I did during the last 2 weeks. And as I spent most of my work through the terminal, it can give me very detailed where I spent my time, what I did, and so on. Why is this also important? Because on that, sometimes I made review of my vault of my activity and figure out where I can optimize, like, for example, to create a new skill or adjusted Claude MD files in subfolders and so on.
You also get to go to a lot of conferences. and talk to the people without as much of professional deformation as we have. So I'm just curious to get your read on the industry today. So we are in this DevOps tooling space and people solving the infrastructure problems in all possible ways. What is your feeling? What is your read of the room today? Like based on what people ask you when you come to the conference, when you get to talk to the people. Where are we today?
We are that everyone nowadays is doing vibe coding, even like product managers. So currently what I see, people for sure, like not everyone, people splitting on different groups. Some of them just using still AI on, let's say like on ChatGPT level. What I mean is just like asking some questions and that's
it. Chatbot.
Yeah, like chatbot. Yeah. That's it. Some of the people moving even far away from my side, like organizing multiple, like marketplace of skills, MCP servers inside the organization, just like spinning up and like you're doing front end, it's already everything pre-installed, or just like need to select what you need to do in this project. But long story short, what I see in the industry happening, most of the people already understand what is a Claude Code. It's very surprised like how Anthropic, I cannot say like won, but for today it's leader in this area.
It's like a mind share. I cannot say Claude Code is like the best thing out there, but it's just like a mind share of people
it's
that they managed to capture.
Right?
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about it. But I was curious as well, Viktor, like with the customers, what do you see in terms of like real usage of AI, right? I saw some report back like some weeks ago on the disconnect between like leadership saying, hey, we gave everyone access to Claude Code, for example, and engineers saying like, we actually don't trust the output of AI that much, and there are a lot more incidents. So just curious what has been your experience?
My experience that people, it's the same what you said, but when you give so what my observation is, in short version of the answer, from December last year, or like November, whatever, when it was released Sonnet 4.5, Opus 4.5, starting from that, models achieve the level when it's doing like very good stuff.
Yeah, that was 4.6, a small factual correction. Yeah.
Whatever. 4.6, let's like 4.6.
I know because it was my birthday. They released it on my birthday, 24th of November, for those people who are guessing.
Okay. From this point of time, if previously developer tried to play with something else, like I don't know, the Sonnet 4 or even 3 something, for sure, it was like, it can do some junior, like make changes of the color. But now it can do a lot of stuff. And what I see and what I think it will be the problem, its limits, it's so small, and it's Anthropic and other companies trying to sell you not subscriptions, trying to sell you tokens. What is bringing us to Uber's story, for example. And also I see the similar happening with my customers. They so heavily use AI that it would be impossible tomorrow continue the same speed, the same stuff without AI, which is depends on AI. And the problem is that cost of this AI, it's ridiculous sometimes. It's ridiculous, especially if you look at like API pricing. I just think it would be like it would be continuing the same way, because I have a couple customers who started like from like, let's say like on the Bedrock, starting from couple hundreds of dollars, and during just a couple months it's hundreds of thousands dollars.
It's add up very quickly.
And like when you don't have this mechanism to stop, which is subscriptions give you like 5 hours window, whatever.
We actually had episode number 6, which called Big AI Squeeze, where we think that all the subscriptions will go away and you will be squeezed into, the subsidies will stop, because still if you're paying $20, $40 today, that's a lot of tokens you get comparing to the API prices. There is a counter-argument to that is that I see numbers that the inference business margins are very, very high. So you're basically when you have the chips, it boils down to electricity and heating and cooling. So, and if you have a model. So that's why there are a lot of people questioning the prices that Anthropic and OpenAI charging today compared to for instance, Chinese providers and open source models, because there is a noticeable difference. So the question is for how long they will be able to maintain that margin, especially taking into account that there is a lot of commoditization of the models. So if you're just consuming the model, if you're not building on top of the platform, because platform provides you a lot of features, for instance, Anthropic platform would provide you advisor pattern, so you don't need to build it your own, and others just available as an API feature where you just set a flag, it's happening on its own. But if you're just consuming the model, it's kind of a commodity. You can switch to GLM or something.
But yeah, I agree. For example, release of GLM 5.2, which is we currently waiting for. Already my couple customer ask, hey, when it will be available on the Bedrock? And I know when it will be available on the Bedrock we are waiting for. I think it's the same stuff with with EKS and Kubernetes. It needs a little bit of time just to adjust and adopt it to enterprise level, because AWS have a lot of quality gates, and especially in security. It's not it says let's go to the production. But I hope that would be the true, and we will have more competitors on this area, and we will have this competition, especially on the money, because otherwise it's, let's be honest, especially in the Fable, the price is it's, I don't know, I spent $300 just in an hour. And it's oh my God, I understand it's for me, it's based on the Bedrock, all the stuff, but I just thinking if at the end of the month I should pay all this money, it's wow, it's no.
Then you start to question your choices, what are you going to use it for?
Yeah. That's true. So I think we will see dramatic changes in price, consuming, pricing, kind of discounts, whatever, especially when these big players will go to APO, OpenAI and Anthropic.
Yes, we will let those guys poof each other, and thanks God for Chinese. So we need to root for Chinese. Go China.
Keep pressuring.
Keep pressuring those guys.
Exactly. At least let's go open-weighted models, because Chinese models also, I know maybe I'm wrong, but Minimax, if I correct remember, they changed their policy and started from some versions that they did not allow to run on Bedrock, something like that, to resale their models. Yeah, you can run on your local machine, but come on, who have hundreds of gigabytes of memory on the local machine?
Yes. Yeah. I guess they're doing what was before OpenSearch, the same kind of mistake. Elasticsearch mistake. This is what they're doing.
I hope they will not do it they'll keep it open-weighted to provide it a way for inference providers like Amazon and other clouds to have this capability, and for people who is not ready to pay for Fable or Opus the whole price, because it's very expensive.
Yes. All righty. So that was a longer than usual conversation. Don't mind. I think it's good.
I hope it was interesting.
Sorry. We learned a lot.
Sorry to take so much time, especially on the terminal, because it's
No. You're tickling our imagination. You're tickling our imagination, showing us what's possible, because as we know, the time is limited, so we have to spend it on the different areas. You actually decided to spend it on this area, and we get to learn from you doing all the hard work. So it's great, and I'm pretty sure that the listeners will appreciate. With this, any last words, Fernando, Viktor?
No, I just want to thank you, Viktor, for taking the time to be here with us to share everything that you shared. And we hope to record another one in the future soon to learn more.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Thank you very much for having me. I hope you learned something new today, especially our listeners, viewers, whatever. cmux, Claude Code, Kiro, Bedrock. This is words I hope keep in your mind after this episode.
All the links will be in the show notes, distilled for you by AI.
Yeah.
All righty. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in, wherever you are listening. Bye-bye.
See you in the next one.